Every name has a unique meaning and holds with it a gift of promise to be acted upon. It's a gift of identity by Anonymous. A good name is more desirable than great riches. To be esteemed is better than silver or gold. Proverbs 22:1. I have always had this fascination with names, mostly names of people rather than places and things. As a young girl in primary school, we would write down the names of our future children on notebook paper during lunchtime or recess. It was a time when choosing the name of your future offspring was a delightful pastime. This fascination has grown with the passage of time and has taken on a different importance as I grew older. Names for our future offspring chosen at school during lunchtime break came from the reigning actor or actress of our favorite TV show we watched, or some musician whose voice we loved hearing on the radio. It would be safe to admit we were clueless regarding the meaning of names we chose, yet we were more intrigued by the sounds and the lives of the celebrated person who carried a certain name we fancied than any definition. Back then, it was just a game. Growing up, I would hear the disappointing story behind my chosen first name repeated more times than I cared to hear revisited. It was always shared at some family gathering with a few friends or two I had brought home for the school break, or worse yet, a boyfriend, someone I liked a lot. I'm not certain why we do things like that to family members. Wait until a special friend is at the dinner table and then spill the beans, the ones that make you red in the face with embarrassment and a slight tinge of irritation. Each and every time this particular story was shared, a sense of disappointment would show up to keep me company. Story goes like this. No one had thought about picking out a name for this brand new baby girl, me. That is, until the nurse entered my mother's hospital room and announced, the birth certificate will be signed later in the day by the doctor, and it must have a name by now. You must have a name. It's been a week. She went on to say, I'm not sure, she said this, and I'm not sure why the discussion had not taken place before the nurse's announcement, but in an almost afterthought response, my mother, grandmother, aunt, and father decided to get on in the act of giving me a name, and quickly. My father decided on the spot that he wanted to name me Polly. Polly. And my Aunt Marva, my mother's younger sister, had a hissy fit. P-O-L-L-Y? Did he say Polly? It was as if he had used a curse word, the way I was told she reacted. In unison, the name was repeated again and again, out loud, over and over by the three women, as if to give special effect, to stir up in one another varying emotions ranging from surprise to disbelief to resolve that they must show a united front on this one particular matter at hand. Very dramatic, I must say. My Aunt Marva, well, she just couldn't believe it, and she wouldn't let it go, not even for a quiet second, so that another name could be first thought of and then chosen. She kept coming back to, what on earth was my father thinking? Was he mad or just plain crazy or what? When my father left the room, she then went on a campaign of her own. Now, Joyce, she started in for the kill, or at least influenced my mother's decision. Now, Joyce, have you ever heard of a black Polly? I am told that there was silence in the room after her question was asked a couple of times, and then with resolve, Marva announced, we can't let him name this child Polly. My grandmother Carolyn, my mother's mother, and my mother quickly agreed. A decision was made. No Polly today. And if Marva was to have her way, not on any other day either. It would be over her dead body. So there. They say that the TV set was on in the midst of all that verbal commotion, and the Gale Storm show was on. And out of the three women poised for a fight when my dad returned, someone came up with the bright idea to name me Gail. They decided to take the first name from the TV actress, and my second and middle name would be given to me after one of my grandmother's sisters, Lorice, my grand aunt. And so from that day forward, I would not be known as Polly. I would be known to family, friends, and foe alike as Gail Lorice. Accent on the E, please. As a child, I have never been impressed with that story on how my name was the first grandchild and my parents' first child and my Aunt Marva's first niece. Why had more thought gone into this special once-in-a-lifetime ritual? Names suggest a prayer answered. A name denotes a celebration and gives permission for that child to grow and become all that one's name entitles that child to be. It is the salutation of the highest honor we can bestow on a child. Since living on the African continent, this fascination of a 13-year-old has now turned into deep appreciation for this particular tradition steeped in culture that I hope will never fade away. My South African family and friends give names to their children with a preordained destiny encased in the name given. The name given can serve as a life roadmap. If you should lose your way or yourself on this path, go back to the name. It will lead you safely home. Throughout the years, I have had many titles given to me. They are names of times and seasons. Some have fallen by the wayside. Some I have worn well. Others are being improved upon as I write. I have been called child, daughter, granddaughter, student, camper, wife, mother, ma, mommy, mom, sister, single parent, aunt, cousin, friend, best friend, my sister friend, mother friend, a healer, divorcee, prayer warrior, chaplain, baby love, and the reigning princess of the African goodbye. I have been nicknamed Scooter, Scooter Pie, Angel, Clarence, Gala, Gift, Blessing, and Scruples. I have been known as an artist manager, producer, child care advocate, woman abuse advocate, caregiver, social worker, prayer partner, elder, author, songwriter, teacher, preacher, facilitator, visionary, and an ambassador of bringing people of different walks of life together for one common goal. I have been described as patient, insightful, independent, risk-taker, compassionate, difficult, careless, and careful. A tiger, caution, strong-willed, flexible, free-spirited, indifferent, bossy, sweet, quite-spirited, soft-spoken, intelligent, sassy, classy, organic, earth mom, controlling, remarried, a healing bomb, inspiring, dramatic, and dependable, reserved. All names mentioned above were inherited, chosen, and then some given with a distinct responsibility attached. It has been my coming to live in South Africa that would give the journey of truly understanding and accepting the gift and the challenge hidden in each name with its description. Then I pause and reflect back on the truth that I am clear about my first name being chosen. Yet my maiden surname of Riddick is the throwback of a white German slave master. The name is not mine. It never belonged to me. and anyone in my bloodline who helped to make sure I got here. Take away a man's name and call him boy, you dismiss and ignore him. Strip a woman of her name and call her girl, you cast her aside and demote and demean her as a child with the inability to perform the most basic tasks. It's wrong. It's cruel. By any other name, it's evil. I'm also saddened by what we in Black American community have come to either accept or ignore. Since when does purposely being called and referred to as a whore or a dog and all other sordid references of this 21st century bring to one a true respect, honor, and sense of satisfaction? How does that translate when we are born of kings and queens? This is a very dangerous trade-off. It's a disservice of the highest order to those who came before us and the price they paid of being labeled as slaves. In accepting to be called anything less than who God has called us, we do a dangerous things to our minds and to our offspring. A few years back, I needed to pick up a filled prescription from our local medical clinic. I noticed that one of the female pharmacists who usually assisted me was now back from her maternity leave. I was excited to see her and to find out if she had delivered a boy or a girl. Her face beamed with excitement as she prepared her announcement. We had a little girl. Of course, my next question was, how sweet, and her name? What did you name her? Oh, we named her Janet Gail, after his mother, she replied. Did I hear her correctly? I was aware of her Jewish heritage and would not have expected Gail, but what did I know? Gail? I asked, almost bursting with the need for more information as I took in a deep breath and waited for the outcome of my question. What does Gail mean exactly? I asked. She replied in the easy manner which is her custom, while having no earthly idea of knowing what impact her next bit of information would have to me. It would be the most freeing piece of information that I had had in years. Well, she began, in Hebrew, Gail means Father's joy. I repeated her answer aloud as if to make certain by repeating her answer and the meaning of my name I had heard her correctly and would not lose this moment of revelation. Did you say Father's joy? Yes, she confirmed. I could feel the water crystals turning into tears filled to almost overflowing in my eyes. I had longed for so many years for some explanation from a name perspective of my worth. I had struggled through the years wanting to belong and here without fanfare. I had left my house, walked quietly down the street into a public place to hear what heaven had always known, that I had not known. I had been known and would always be known as my Father's joy. I walked back to my home that day with a certain bounce in my step, a certain acknowledgement, both bathed in this newness of me, my gifts and my talents. The questions had been answered and the thirst quenched. Everything took on a whole new meaning. Gail never was a mistake, no matter how it was derived. It was the truth of who I was called to be. Father's joy. Home delivers the truth about oneself. It sets forth in motion by identification the simple yet profound act of giving a name that gives identity, which gives a purpose and acknowledgement of a calling on one's life, which then points to one's past, present, and future. Now, this feels like home to me.